Good morning, students. Today we are going to begin our lesson with chapter 1, that is the beginning of the modern world. Students, we are following the reduced syllabus. So according to reduced syllabus, there are certain topics within the chapter which are deleted. So please follow carefully this class and also my live class, in which I am going to discuss about the syllabus. The beginning of the modern world. In this, you have to study page number 9 and page number 10 till secondary sources only, not more than that. Other all things are deleted from this lesson. Though you have read these all in the live class, it is discussed. It is for your knowledge, you have read it, but the questions for your pre-half yearly unit test will be within this, that is till secondary sources. I am again repeating from page number 9 starting, that is periodization of history, till page number 10 only secondary sources, not also the Renaissance, not modern period in Europe. From here you don't have to study, you will only study till secondary sources according to the reduced syllabus. According to the reduced syllabus, these topics are there to be studied from chapter 1, which I will explain you also. Then we'll move on to the next chapter. First, let us discuss the beginning of the modern world. Now see, these topics are there. So from these topics you will get the certain inside questions from here, that is fill in the blanks, true false, choose the correct option, or picture study. Okay, short question from inside. Back exercise you will not touch because your back exercise is according to the full lesson. So many questions are deleted only, maximum. Only few 1 or 2 questions will be matched. So I will give you certain short questions which you study from chapter 1, which is sufficient for your pre-half yearly unit test. Okay, you study those set of questions which I will give for these 3-4 topics, that is periodization in history, the period of transition, source materials, primary sources and secondary sources. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics are there. So from these 5 topics I will give you inside short questions and study those. Okay, then we'll move on to second chapter. From there I will tell you what to study, but first let us start now this chapter. Okay, so periodization history, you have already read this lesson, you already know. So periodization of history in most country is classified into 3 periods, that is, one is ancient, medieval and modern period. So each period has some characteristics in it. It is divided according to political, economic, religious and social category that sets it apart from other periods. This classification helps to bring a sense of order and continuity to the bewildering array of historical events. A certain classification helps to bring a sense of order, a continuity. You get to continue the lessons. You come to understand that this event, after this event, after this event, you get a continuity to know about the events. Suddenly you cannot understand a particular event. Every event is connected. It has its history behind. Something was there in the past, then only that event came. So something continuity is there. In ancient something happened, in modern something happened, medieval something happened. In ancient something happened which was connected to the medieval period. Then in medieval some events happened which was connected to the modern period, which is a continued form of it. Okay, so period of transition. Now what is transition? The historical periods differ from country to country. Transition, a change. It is a historical change, a period of change came. Historical periods differ from country to country, depending on the stage of development of that region. In Europe, the modern age started in 15th century. In Europe, the modern age started in 15th century. In India, however, the modern age is generally regarded as having begun in the mid 18th century. The modern age was started in the 15th century, and in India, however, the modern age, which is generally regarded as having begun in the mid 18th century. And what was the major turning point for the transition in India? The major turning point was from medieval to modern, the conquest of India by the British. They brought a remarkable change in the historical background past and till the modern age. They brought a huge change. In the past, India had been invaded and conquered by foreigners. However, unlike the earlier conquerors, the British did not settle down and adapt to an Indian way of life. For the first time, India was ruled from outside by foreigners and subjected to an alien rule. When it was following an alien rule of foreigners for about 200 years. These foreigners ruled India for about 200 years. The sharp divide between the British rulers and the Indians was never bridged. When the division which the Britishers put between the Indians and the category of British was never bridged. That means they never made equal. It was always unequal and they were always different. So the British rulers and the Indians were never equal. Hence, there are some of the characteristic features of the modern age. Certain characteristic features of the modern age are urbanization, democratic institutions, rationalism, industrialization, technological advancement, fundamental civil liberties, and humanism. So there are different source materials to study about the modern age in India. There are a vast range of quantity of source materials for the modern age in India, which helps us to study the history of this period in great details and with accuracy. Very accurate they are. The source materials for the modern age are of two kinds. One is primary source and the other is the secondary source. What is primary source materials? Many of the primary sources of the modern period have been preserved in archives and also in museums. Many of the primary sources have been preserved in archives and museums. They include what type of primary sources they are? They include original documents such as official records of the British government in India, literary works such as accounts of European residents, visitors and Indian officials, novels, plays, short stories, and poems by British and Indian authors of this period, historical works by contemporary historians, artistic works like paintings, sketches, engravings and drawings, photographs, audio cassettes, films and videotapes of the incidents and interviews of important personalities, newspapers in both English and Indian languages, archaeological remains such as monuments and artifacts, and oral history. So these are certain categories of primary sources which include and which are preserved and which provide a very important information to study about the modern age history. Next is secondary sources. And secondary sources include books, reviews, reports and articles written by historians and scholars who study and research the primary source materials, interpret evidence and arrive as a conclusion. Since the modern age in India began with the advent of the British rule, the roots of the transition from medieval period was traced back to Europe. So to understand impact of British rule of Indian history, it is imperative to understand the changes. It is not required to study. So only you will understand the secondary sources. What does it include? In first paragraph, it includes books, reviews, reports and articles written by historians, scholars who study the research done in the primary sources. Okay, this first paragraph is sufficient as answer of secondary sources. Second paragraph, no need to study. And from modern period in Europe, it is not there in your syllabus. It is reduced syllabus. So in reduced syllabus, you are not going to study this till secondary sources, first paragraph you study. Okay, and from this lesson, I will give you short few questions. Few questions on 1, 2, 3 on fill in the blanks, true, false. Okay. True, false, fill in the blanks. Few questions I will give from this part. Okay, then you will get from chapter 2, you will get your exercise questions that I will tell you. Okay, so till this much is your secondary sources. Secondary sources till your first paragraph. Okay, so we have done till page number 10, secondary sources, first paragraph. Now, so we have completed chapter 1 according to reduced syllabus. So let us come to chapter 2. Now you all open page number. I am telling you, everyone keep pencils also in hand. I hope so you keep your pencils and mark it in your book. Keep on marking because it's your video class. You can repeatedly see it and you can revise the lesson. What I am speaking, again you can see it. And again you can listen and you can mark it. Okay, so keep pencils in hand, books ready, mark it. Okay, take out page number 20 now. Industrial Revolution and the rise of imperialism. So Industrial Revolution, how it began and why it began? This is the question every student has in mind. That from where it began, why it began, why was the need of industrial revolution, why was there? Revolution means what? A revolution means change. Something from the old which was happening was not accepted by the present population. That is why that present population revolted against the old regime. Now that particular thing brought a new method. What was that? The new method was a revolution. That is called a industrial revolution. So in industrial revolution, there are pre-industrial revolution. In this pre-industrial revolution, during the medieval period, agriculture was the main occupation of the people. Everybody was associated with land in some way or the other. So during medieval period, agriculture was the main occupation. Everybody was associated with land in some way or the other. The needs of the villagers were simple and very few. Whatever they needed was made by the artisans and craftspeople of the villages. Every village was self-sufficient and had its own weavers, blacksmiths, carpenters and other skilled workers. Simple tools were used and goods were made at home with the help of family members. The finished products were sold to the local communities, and this system of production was known as domestic system. Underline it. So you have understood that every village was self-sufficient. What do you mean by self-sufficient? That means the people had their own occupations, like they were engaged in weaving, they were weavers, there were blacksmiths, there were carpenters, and other skilled workers were there. Now those workers were self-sufficient in their occupation. Simple tools were used and goods were made at home with the help of family members. The finished products were sold to the local communities. This system of production was known as the domestic system. Now, the exploration. So you are underline domestic system. You underline from simple tools which were used and goods were made at home with the help of family. The finished products which were sold to the local communities. This system of the production was known as domestic system. From simple tools you can underline, no problem, till domestic system. Now next paragraph. The exploration and discovery of new lands. The exploration and discovery of new lands led to an increase in the overseas trade. Overseas trade means from one place to another. Overseas trading and commerce started. Now this in return gave what? It gave huge growth of towns and cities. People started to modernize themselves. People started to understand the modern techniques, equipments of other countries, of other places. This in turn led to growth of towns and cities and emergence of wealthy middle class. The demand for consumer and luxury items greatly increased. The domestic system could not cope with this growing demand. Now, what happened when the new exploration started, when trade and commerce started? What happened? People come to know about new ideas, new techniques, new modern technologies. Now these weavers, carpenters who were slow producers, who were producing the equipments but very slow, it was taking time. So when through trade and commerce people started to understand new technologies which were very fast, they started to adapt it, they started to use it for the production purposes. Now these particular greatly affected these the simple domestic class holders. So this actually affected the domestic system. This in return gave to a growth of huge towns and cities, the trade and commerce, and it emerged with a huge wealthy middle class people, with the merchants, lawyers, technicians and all. But the demand of domestic system of production was decreased, and now consumers of luxury items were greatly increasing. The domestic system could not cope with the growing demands, which was going very fast. The methods of production was very inadequate, very different from their old domestic system. Method of production had changed and was very slow. The domestic system was very slow, so it cannot cope up with the modern demands, which was growing very fast. The requirements were growing very, very fast. An improved system became the need of the hour. So now new system want, revolution want, a new change in the production want, a modified, modern, more effective system which is much faster, huge production. It was called putting out system, under which merchants put out or supplied the raw materials. They supplied the raw materials to the artisans and later sold the finished products in distant markets. What is this put out system? In this put out system is merchants who supplied the raw materials to the artisans and later sold the finished products in distant markets. These particular merchants used to buy the raw materials with low cost from the common peasant class. These raw materials were given to artisans for production. Now the produced good which came, they used to sell it to the markets with higher prices, and the merchants, in return, the merchants were in huge profit here. The artisans worked either at their own home or at a workshop outside their home. The domestic workers received from the merchants payment of wages for their labor. This system of precursor to the factory system that followed. It was precursor, this is just a movement which was going to enter into a factory system. It had just started. In factory system, what happened? In factory, raw materials are put and the laborers and workers are put there into work. The laborers and workers get the wages for the whole day work. That was only, but only in this system, precursor, it is the previous past of just the industrial revolution, in which the workers were working at home with their own workshop in domestic level type of only, with their own workshop, workplaces, or sometimes they were working together in a workshop, sometimes at home, sometimes at workshop. So this type of categories were there, but it was just a precursor of factory system. In factory system, a huge change had brought, that was industrial revolution. Now how industrial revolution affected? By the mid of 18th century, a series of remarkable inventions led to the economic revolution in England. The people started to gain huge economy. So as people, these merchants who are getting huge profits, where they are going to utilize those money? They are going to put those money, invest those money in establishing big factories, big industries, big machineries. So this was the ideas which was getting revolutionized for industries. So to be known as industrial revolution, it transformed the entire economy and society of 18th century England and other countries subsequently. This great and radical transformation in the industry, which fundamentally altered all the methods, techniques and organization of production and distribution, is known as the Industrial Revolution. There are certain features of Industrial Revolution also, we'll study it. So these topics you have to study. What I am explaining, this is in your syllabus, reduced syllabus. Page number 20, chapter 2, Pre-Industrial Revolution, reasons. The Pre-Industrial Revolution is what? That what was the main cause for starting, the main background of starting of the Industrial Revolution, which you should know, which you should have the idea. So Pre-Industrial Revolution, Industrial Revolution, features of the Industrial Revolution. From this page we are studying, then we will move on to the next topics. Okay, so read these topics carefully. All of you put tick mark and read it. Nothing is deleted here. Okay. So features of the Industrial Revolution. What was the main features of Industrial Revolution? The main features of Industrial Revolution were as follows. The domestic system of production was replaced by the factory system. Manual labor was replaced by machines. Small scale production gave way to large scale productions. Large scale mass manufacture of goods was carried on in factories. Instead of homes of the artisans, power driven machines replaced simple tools. These factories, including the resources and the means of production, were owned by the rich merchants known as capitalists, or people who owned the capital. So the main features in which large scale mass manufacture is a very important point. I am again repeating. Large scale mass manufacture of goods was carried on in factories instead of homes of artisans. When large scale production started in factories in place of previously artisans were doing what? At home or in workshop they were doing production, but here now they laborers, the workers were employed to work in factories for mass manufacture, huge manufacture. Power driven machines was there, replaced the simple tools. Simple ordinary or domestic tools were replaced by huge power driven machineries. These factories included the resources and the means of production which were owned by rich merchants known as capitalists, or people who own the capital. Okay, today we are going to do till this much. Next topic I will start causes of industrial revolution in England, but in the next class. In today's video class you are going to revise these topics from chapter 1 till the secondary sources first paragraph. You study sufficient. Okay, page 9 and 10. In page number 10 till secondary sources first paragraph, which is according to your reduced syllabus. Chapter 1, there it is over. From there some few I will give you short questions from those 2 pages, and then chapter 2 you will start doing the revision work. Revise, read this lesson. I will tell you, read according what topics I have read today, and I will give you in Google form link in which practice questions will be there. Few practice questions related to the topic, because we have started, just begin with the work, so we have to slowly start the work. Okay, so you read this lesson till your features of industrial revolution. Then next class I will start the causes of the industrial revolution in England. Okay, in the next video class we will complete this one, and this lesson we will complete in the next class, and I will give you your materials, how to study. I will tell you. We are also having our live class, so you all attend my live class, join in the live class, and any doubts, queries, come forward and ask me. Don't hesitate, you come forward and ask me doubts and queries, whatever you have. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to I am talking about today only. Previously I am making video, that is why tomorrow word came out. So we will meet in our live class today. So whatever doubts and queries you have, you all please ask me and don't hesitate. Okay, keep it ready in hand. Okay students, thank you.